Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Abby Grisey.
And I'm Justin Holbrook. Thanks for joining us. Today marks the 2-year anniversary of the fire that swept through West Union Street, causing severe damage to numerous stores and displacing nearby residents. The fire caused several businesses and stores to close or undergo an extensive rebuilding process. While the left side of the road has not reopened since the fire, progress has been made. The Union Bar and Grill reopened this past May, as well as a clothing store in September called 10 West, which is where Mary Cheadle's Uptown Dog t-shirt store used to be. She now owns both 10 West and Uptown Dog, which moved across the street, and she spoke to us about the effect that the fire had on her life.
I always had the inclination to open another business. I always thought I was going to want to be on Court Street, was the only difference. It wasn't until this happened that, again, I found kind of my heart on Union Street and wanted to maintain Uptown Dog being here and add this new business to it. So, yeah, I mean, we made lemonade out of lemons.
An incident of rape was reported to the Athens Police Department on Tuesday. A 21-year-old woman told police that someone she knew had sexually assaulted her at about 2 a.m. Sunday in the Uptown area. The APD report provides no other information aside from the incident being under investigation. This is the 8th rape report APD and the Ohio University Police Department have fielded since the beginning of OU's fall semester, according to previous post reports. And a former Ohio University student turned himself into the Athens County Court of Common Pleas today. 23-year-old Cameron Wilson was indicted on 7 charges. Those are relating to an incident in January and then a separate altercation in May. Wilson is charged with rape, sexual battery, tampering with evidence, escape, possession of drugs, and possession of heroin. A jury trial is scheduled for January of 2017.
Well, it was a little bit of a warmer day today, and we had some sunny skies as well. Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Allison Gens. Right now in Athens, it's 51 degrees. We have calm winds out there and our humidity's at 64%. Looking around the region, temperatures are dropping as we head into our evening hours. 52 in Newark, 53 in Cambridge, 52 in New Martinsville, 55 in Marietta, and 58 in Ironton. And then overnight tonight, it's going to stay a little bit warmer. We're going to see some warmer temperatures as we head into tomorrow, but those do not look to be sticking around. But for overnight tonight, a little bit of a milder night, 44 degrees for your at 9 p.m., 41 by midnight, 39 by 3 a.m. with mostly clear skies throughout the night. But like I said, it might be a little bit warmer right now, but we're expecting to see some colder winter-like temperatures beginning to move their way in as we head into the end of our week, into our weekend. So I'll have a little bit more about that in my extended forecast that's coming up later in the show.
An update now on the investigation of the Roden family murders in Ohio. The Pike County Sheriff threatened to arrest any friends, family, or neighbors who hold back any information. As Julie O'Neill reports, those words from the sheriff evoked strong words of emotion from the family in their first holiday season without their loved ones.
I ain't held nothing back.
Leonard Manley makes that clear from the start, responding to Sheriff Charles Reeder's new warning now nearly 7 months after 8 members of the Roden family were murdered in one night. Sheriff Reeder releasing a statement to the I-Team's Hillary Lake. I have made it clear that anyone who has lied to investigators or has purposely misled them in any manner in this case will be arrested and charged accordingly, including family, friends, and neighbors of the victims if necessary. This is the first that we have heard the sheriff specifically say if family members and close friends.
What that guy says. He can question us all he wants to question us, and he ain't going to find out one more thing and what we already told him because we don't know nothing.
Manley did clarify when he says we, he means his side of the family. His daughter Dana, one of the victims, married into the Roden family. Manley says he never really knew some of the Roden brothers or their father.
He didn't come around me, and I didn't go around him.
So the various members of the Roden family are not in constant communication?
No, wasn't in the period.
He's specifically now
insinuating
that someone in the family might know something.
Well, someone probably does. And whoever done it, just like I keep telling them, had to know the dogs. I mean, they wouldn't have got in there if they didn't know that dog.
A dog that never barked as someone went into his daughter's trailer and murdered her.
How are you?
I'm getting better. A lot of people have really helped us. You still miss them.
I did speak with another member of the Roden family who also believes someone in the family knows something, hoping this case will be solved soon. In Pike County, Julie O'Neill, 9 on your side.
So far, the state of Ohio is providing funeral expenses for 3 members of the slain family.
And more babies are dying in Ohio, according to data released by the Ohio Department of Health. 50 more infants died before their first birthday in 2015 compared to 2014. Black babies are dying at a rate almost 3 times the rate of white babies. Ohio's infant mortality rate is one of the worst in the nation. The leading causes of infant deaths include prematurity, sleep-related deaths, and birth defects. Officials in Newark have made a significant decision regarding an ordinance passed last week. Last Tuesday, Newark residents voted to eliminate criminal penalties, such as fines, jail, or probation, for having less than 200 grams of marijuana. But Newark officials say that they will continue to charge and prosecute violators under state law, known as the Ohio Revised Code. The city of Logan passed the same measure last week, but officials haven't made any changes at this point.
Coming up after the break, justice for a black man shot by a white officer. We'll tell you about his charges.
And crimes against blacks and Muslims have skyrocketed since Trump's victory, what the Senate and House are demanding from Trump. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming. It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is. The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
A warning, the following content is graphic. The Minnesota police officer who fatally shot 32-year-old Philando Castile in July has been charged with manslaughter. Officer Geronimo Yanez is being charged with second-degree manslaughter and 2 felony counts of dangerous discharge of a firearm. Yanez shot and killed Castile after pulling him over for a broken taillight. Castile's fiancée, who live-streamed the aftermath on Facebook, says the officer shot Castile as he reached for his wallet.
From major Black Lives Matter cases to post-election violence, the FBI is revealing shocking new hate crime numbers. Mary Maloney has more.
It's been 1 week since Election Day 2016, and in that time, reports of hate crimes have streamed in from across the country. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, more than 400 cases of harassment or intimidation have been reported in the last 7 days. Hateful words and symbols have been spray painted on churches, schools, and in one school, some students stood up at lunch and chanted, "Build that wall." There have also been reports of violence against Donald Trump supporters. One man says he was attacked in Chicago after a car accident, accused of voting for the Republican nominee.
I heard a lady yell something about, that guy's one of those Trump supporters. And I turned and I said to her, that has nothing to do with this.
And this isn't just a recent phenomenon. The increase in hate crimes traces back to before the election. According to a report released by the FBI this week, hate crimes in the U.S. rose 6.8% from 2014 to 2015. Attacks against Muslims rose 67% compared to the year before. 257 attacks in 2015. That's the highest number of attacks on Muslims since 2001, following the al-Qaeda attacks on 9/11, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. While President-elect Trump addressed the issue and implored people to stop the violence during an interview on 60 Minutes, outgoing Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid thinks Trump needs to do more.
Instead of hiding behind your Twitter account, and show America that racism, bullying, and bigotry have no place in the White House or in America.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
And social media isn't being left out of the mix either. Abby, what's Twitter doing about cyber hate and racism?
Well, Justin, Twitter's promise to crack down on hate speech yesterday led to the suspension of several alt-right accounts. Among those suspended from the platform include the verified account of Richard Spencer, a popular face of the group known for promoting white nationalism. Twitter also removed Spencer's alt-right think tank account and his online magazine. In a YouTube video, Spencer says Twitter is, quote, purging people based on their views, calling it corporate Stalinism. Twitter declined to comment, citing privacy reasons.
President-elect Donald Trump's transition teams are at work in New York and Washington, but the process has been called a rocky one. Diane Gallagher has the very latest from Washington.
Donald Trump has only been president-elect for a week, but his transition so far is turbulent, to say the least. In just the past 2 days, breaking protocol by ditching reporters for dinner. A Wednesday morning tweet storm railing against the New York Times, and reports of hirings and firings within his team.
They wanted to go in a different direction. It was easy for me to hand it off to Mike Pence in his capable hands coming in. I think there is some confusion going on about a chain of command coming out of New York. Hopefully they'll get that settled pretty soon.
Multiple leaks indicate that much of that confusion and infighting is linked to Trump's son-in-law and trusted advisor, Jared Kushner. But Trump tweeted Tuesday that the process is, quote, very organized, and his team has pushed back on the criticism.
We feel really good about the transition. I actually would just say it's false to say it's not going well.
Meanwhile, signs of the transition making its way to Washington are finally here. Team leader and Vice President-elect Mike Pence dropped by the D.C. transition headquarters Wednesday, as did Newt Gingrich.
The beginning of any transition like this has turmoil because it's just the nature of the process.
But as the future of the Trump administration works on coming together, the country still appears to be very much divided. With protesters, some of them high school and college students, walking out of class, taking to the streets for a 7th day straight to express their feelings about Trump's election. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Americans are still signing up for Obamacare despite President-elect Trump's vow to repeal it. The Department of Health and Human Services said today that so far at least 1 million people have selected plans for 2017. More than 300,000 of those people signed up in the 3 days following the election. Despite Trump's initial promise to quickly dismantle the program, he appeared open to compromise, indicating he may retain popular parts of Obamacare, such as covering people with pre-existing conditions. Open enrollment runs through January 31st. On Wall Street today, the U.S. dollar index rose for the 8th straight day. Here's a look at stocks of local interest.
These fires can be seen from space. We'll tell you what investigators are saying about human involvement. That story is still ahead.
Temperatures are warming up as we head to the end of the week, but a drop in temperatures is to come and maybe even some snow. I'll let you know what you can expect in our forecast coming up next on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
NASA says wildfires blazing across the southeast can be seen from space. One of the space agency's satellites captured this image Saturday of several fires in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. The fires range in size. The Chestnut Knob Fire in North Carolina has burned for over 4,600 acres, while the Rough Ridge in Georgia has burned close to 24,000 acres. Investigators say several of the fires were caused by humans. Now let's go over to Alice.
Thanks, Justin. Right now in Athens, it's 51 degrees. We have clear skies out there and calm winds, and around the region, temperatures are beginning to drop as we head into our evening. 51 here in Athens, 53 in New Lexington, 55 in Marietta, as well as in Ripley. A little bit warmer in Ironton, still 58 degrees. Our almanac today shows we were a little bit above average. 61 was our high temperature today. We're normally around 55 for this time of year. Now our low was 32, a little bit cooler for our average temperature. Our record was 75 set back in 1933. Now our precipcast for tonight shows we have high pressure over the region. That's giving us those clearer skies and those warmer temperatures that are beginning to work their way in, and that high pressure will continue to linger around, but it is going to begin working its way out. And as you can see out, and if you look out west, you can see this low pressure system that's going to begin working its way into our region. That's what's going to bring us the possibility for some snow, as we might be seeing soon. So we might get that first bit of snow for this season, and also we're going to see a significant drop in temperatures as we head into our weekend. Now, if you look overnight tonight, temperatures going to be a little bit warmer than they have been the past few nights. 36 in Chillicothe, 38 in New Lexington, 38 as well in Marietta, 40 in Ripley, with clear skies throughout the night. Now, tomorrow warming up. It's going to be a little bit warmer than we felt today. We had 65 in Newark, 63 in Cambridge, 68 in Marietta, 71 in Ripley, and sunny skies across the region. And make sure you go out there and enjoy that, because we are getting some of our last few warm days of the season. We probably won't be seeing any more until we head into our winter months. Now, 37 degrees as our overnight temperature, with mostly clear skies and calm conditions. Then tomorrow morning at the bus stop, or as you head off for your morning commute, 39 degrees for your high temperature, or for your morning temperature, with partly cloudy skies and patchy fog. So make sure you take caution as you're driving to work or as you're heading off to school in the morning, because that fog could inhibit some of your vision as you're driving. Now tomorrow, 67 degrees is our high temperature. Like I said, it is going to be a warmer day, so make sure you get out there and enjoy that. It's going to be a little bit cooler in the morning, but warm up by our afternoon hours, and sunny skies throughout the day, so it's going to be warm, pleasant, a nice day to enjoy. And then as we look into your extended forecast here, for Friday, 72 degrees. So I think that's going to be our last hot day that we're going to be seeing for this season. But make sure you go out there and enjoy it. At least it's on that Friday. But then if you look till Saturday, look at that drop. 49 degrees by Saturday. And then overnight, we have some rain moving in. And then possibly to Sunday, we might be seeing some snow overnight and into our early morning hours with 40 degrees as your high high temperature. So we might have some snow on the way as we head into our weekend. We'll continue to keep track of that too to see the progress on that throughout the week. Then by Monday, 42 degrees and warming up back by midweek next week. Now I'm going to send it over to Abby.
Thanks, Allison. Suicide is the #3 killer of adolescents, according to the World Health Organization. And depression is a key factor in suicide deaths. Now, a new study finds that there has been a significant rise in major depression among young people in the U.S. More in today's Health Minute.
The prevalence of major depression is rising for young people, but especially for girls aged 12 to 17. A study published in the journal Pediatrics examined government data from more than 172,000 adolescents and more than 178,000 young adults aged 18 to 25. Researchers found that cases of major depression among all adolescents rose from about 9% in 2005 to about 11% in 2014. Among young adults, they rose from about 9% to about 10%. But the biggest increase was among a group that already had the highest rates of depression, teenage girls. Data showed the prevalence of major depression among that group jumped from about 13% to about 17% in the same time period. The increase among boys was lower and moved from about 4% to about 6%. Researchers noted there was not a corresponding rise in the proportion of adolescents receiving treatment. They say more research is needed to understand why depression is increasing fastest among teenage girls, and that more needs to be done to improve access to depression care for all young people. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Common treatments of depression include antidepressants, talk therapy, or a combination of the two. Now let's head over to Clay to see what's coming up in sports.
Good evening, I'm Clay Benjamin. Coming up in sports, the Ohio football team had the chance to clinch a spot in the MAC title game last night with a win over Central Michigan. And in Ohio volleyball, 3 players received all MAC honors for their play this season. I'll have those stories and more when Newswatch returns. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Clay Benjamin. The Ohio football team had a chance to clinch their spot in the MAC championship game in Detroit last night, but after the 27-20 loss to Central Michigan in Mount Pleasant, the Bobcats will have to wait a little longer. Ohio's comeback fell short late in the fourth quarter after a Dorian Brown 1-yard touchdown run early in the fourth tied the game at 20. CMU scored the game-winning touchdown when Cooper Rush threw an 8-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Conklin after a 43-yard drive with 5:51 left in the game. With the loss, the Bobcats fall to 7-4 on the season. So here are the scenarios that Ohio needs to happen to clinch a spot in the MAC title game. A Miami loss versus Ball State, or an Ohio win versus Akron next Tuesday, or a Miami loss and Ohio loss will see Ohio get into the game with a tiebreaker. It was a big day for the Ohio volleyball team as 3 Bobcats received All-MAC honors. Senior Mallory Salas and redshirt junior Allie Lake earned first-team All-MAC, while junior Jamie Kosorek earned honorable mention. This is the first time any of these players have received All-MAC honors. Salas led the team with a career-high 341 kills. She was named MAC East Player of the Week 3 times this season. Lake also had a career high with 274 kills and 30 blocks in MAC play. Kosorek led the team in serving aces with 31 and helped the Bobcats clinch a 3 seed in the MAC tournament. Ohio earned a first-round bye in the tournament and will face the winner of Toledo or Kent State. In the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers went down to the wire last night against the Toronto Raptors, but thanks to a strong performance down the stretch by Channing Frye, the Cavs took it 121-117. Frye, who finished with 21 points, scored 13 of those points in the fourth quarter, and he shot 62% from beyond the arc. Frye's late-game performance helped the Cavs erase a 12-point deficit entering the fourth. And the Cavs are right back at it tonight as they take on Eastern Conference foe, the Indiana Pacers. Tip is set for 7 p.m. The United States men's national soccer team played their second World Cup qualifying game in the hexagonal round last night and got trounced by Costa Rica 4-0 in San Jose, Costa Rica. 2 second-half goals from Joel Campbell finished off the United States as the Costa Ricans cruised to the victory. This is the second straight loss for the United States after they lost 2-1 against Mexico last Friday. The U.S. returns to the field on March 24th, 2017. Here's a look at the current standings through the first 2 games of the Hex, with 8 games still to go. The top 3 teams qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Each team gets 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie. Costa Rica tops the group with 6 points, followed by Mexico, Panama, Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago, then USA is last with 0 points. That's it for sports. Back to you, Justin.
Thanks, Clay. Fans awaiting the debut of Nike's self-lacing sneakers just found out they're not going to be cheap. Nike revealed the price of the Hyper Adapt 1.0, the cost, a whopping $720. Select users of the Nike Plus app will get an early access to the shoe on November 28th. The sneakers will be available to everyone else via the Nike Plus app and select locations later in December. Now let's go over to Allison for one last look at weather.
Thanks, Justin. Overnight tonight, 37 degrees for our low with mostly clear skies. Then tomorrow, warming up 67 degrees with sunny skies throughout the day. And if you look at your 7-day forecast, warming up for Friday, 72 degrees, but it looks to be our last warm day of the season as temperatures drop as we head into Saturday with 49 degrees. And then from Saturday into Sunday, we might have some snow on the way. So that's it for me over here. I'll send it back to Abby and Justin.
Thanks, Allison. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Holbrook.
And I'm Abby Grisey. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.